on stage our panelists, Professor Kaushal Jha, CEO of SEAT, Mr. Kumar Vembu, founder and CEO of GoFoodle, Mr. Arvind Bharadwaj, co-founder CTO of Hyperloop, and this will be moderated by Professor Kannan, founder of Motors, Professor of Practice.
We have had a long and exciting day, a lot of demonstrations, a lot of things that worked, probably very more that didn't, but excitement nevertheless. One is, of course, it's great to be excited about what we build, because we figure out things, we are delighted by things that work, we learn from things that don't work, and so on. But if you just take a step backward and think of, finally, why are we doing all this? I think there is this general understanding we all have that this is going to be very transformative in terms of how people move from place to place and how goods are moved from place to place in India. And why is movement of goods and people such a big deal? Because on the one hand, of course, Dr. Kaushal Jha was just explaining that if we project the rate at which our GDP is going to grow, then the volume at which things will move, and of course people will move, etc., will have to keep pace with that. But rather than look at all these macro numbers, which are always hard to comprehend and understand, if I just reflect on how many of us in cities try to organize our life. In fact, Dr. Jha is a good example. For more than a year, I think he was traveling 40 kilometers each way to come to work here, simply because he had located himself close to where his children are studying. So this movement, does he travel a long distance, allow his children to walk to school, or should it be the other way around? It's always a very big and complicated decision. I have seen many people, their entire lives are organized around commuting. And this is definitely true in cities. And the spread and growth of cities again happens along what are called arterial roads, so that even if I live farther away where the rents are lower, I can still quickly get onto a main road and come. And that in turn means that those roads very quickly get overloaded and saturated. I live very close to the ECR, and it's one of the important arterial getaways of Chennai. And every weekend, Friday evening onwards, the place is choked, because in the first half of the weekend, everybody is trying to run out of the city. And in the remaining half of the weekend, everybody is trying to come back in through that road. And the road was not built to handle that kind of volume. Although when it was first built, it appeared like very, very over-designed, overbuilt. Very quickly, the capacities proved to be very inadequate. And reflecting on this, we can see how actually if we change how people can move and how goods can move, entire society will get ordered very differently. And I have very eminent panelists with me. I don't have anything more to add. I would let them take the stage. Over to you, Kumar.
Thank you. Good evening all, and very happy to be here and excited to see some of the solution you have built. All the best.
So some of the things we have already discussing from the morning itself. So it's not only about the people who we are, it's also the people who cannot afford it. So our solution which has to work to everybody, to the same priority, and also our solution which works with the people who are also not in good in shape. So I can say differentially able people. So what we have been talking about from morning till now was all about that one. So what else we can add here is some of the things what we were talking about is mostly on the road transport and over road transport. So other places like we do have something rivers, canals, in fact across all the cities also. It's a different thing. We are not able to maintain that one, and those places could be another gateway to have a huge transportation means capacity if we can really utilize that. So other than what I can think of is what we have discussing from morning. Other things also like can we utilize the water transport to a great extent for the cities like this. And also, if you look upon the national level, at least many of rivers in India that goes almost half of the country. If you can utilize those, that would be really helpful. So that's from my side, sir.
So Mr. Bharadwaj, he is our own Elon Musk, building the Hyperloop. He is actually in the process of making a 1-ton vehicle accelerate to 500 kilometers per hour, 150 kilometers per hour, and again come back to a halt, all within a span of 400 meters inside a tunnel which is full of vacuum. And that's the prototype that he's building. I would like to hear your thoughts now.
My thoughts specifically on one, because the topic is quite open. So, I think reimagining future, I think you get the target as 2030, right? So, 2030 future, so this is not going to happen. So, what we are trying to do is essentially create a concept here in IIT Madras. So, we are having a 400-meter test facility that has been funded by the railways. So, that's going to come up in the next few months. So, the genesis is essentially just like all of you. I think before I start where I took up this journey, what I saw for the past 1 hour, it's quite exciting, and I can see a lot of energy and all youngsters thinking about the future problems and coming up with a solution. And I think impossible is possible is truly defined what I was seeing in both the project demos that you guys have. Congratulations to all of you. And I really right? I think that is really amazing, and you've done online, offline, and with mentors over here. So really cheers to all of you. And I know that we are going to come up with frugal solutions. They go frugal right there, but you're going to come up frugal solutions from India. We just had the Chandrayaan-3, and if you're looking at the price points at which we are achieving, it's unbelievable or unimaginable in the West. So, and we have proved it multiple times over. And automotive industry, Indian automotive industry is a clear example of proving it again and again in terms of the product development costs, right from the times of the Scorpio or from Nano and other things, and coming up with new solutions which solves problems which are very unique to India. And India again is very unique in terms of the mobility segment. You have all sorts of vehicles on the road, and I just saw the wheelchair experiment here, and many of you have actually done that. You know the complexity of how you do collision, obstacle detection, collision avoidance, and then by showing how you're actually going to do a voice recognition. How do you actually train it? How do you get it right? And this is for a project demo. If you've seen the complexity, if you're actually going to put it in real world, it's not just anymore academic. You start looking at impacting people's lives and everything. So, and where the order is not that. Like I started my career 30 years ago in the mobility industry, and I used to be wondering when I came back to India, I said, are these all going to happen in India? And I was thinking not in my lifetime, right? So, but now we drive a vehicle, like you see the XUV 700, it has not just a lane keep assist, it also brings you back in the lane. It's like a ADAS2, which is already there. So if you're actually moving away from a lane, it puts you back into the lane. And that is on the road. So, and Tata, they have a similar one, the lane keep assist. So I used to be joking, there are no lanes, what is used for these things. But all of you who have done this project, you know the complexity that goes into it. In terms of the sensors, in terms of the controls that has to be taken, because they're taking supervisory control over the driver, and that has to be accurate all the time if you're doing it high speeds. Adaptive cruise control is other one. which is already in the Indian roads. So it's not future anymore. So many of these case technology, which is like connected, autonomous, shared, or electric, we are consumers of that. So we have reimagined the future of mobility in India much, much faster than what it has happened in the US or in Western Europe. So what has taken them decades, we have just jumped quite a few generations of that and we have come here. So that is a case of what we talk about if we are talking about Hyperloop. Here there are no standards set globally. So everybody is now figuring it out. And journey is started in IIT 7 years ago with a bunch of students. They formed a team called Avishkar, and many of you probably have heard about it. And there's the only team that qualified. Elon Musk had called for a competition for Hyperloop in the US, and there's the only team from Asia that qualified, the Avishkar team in 2017. And they're just not qualifying for that. They also won quite a few awards. So they were actually brushing shoulders with the best of the students globally, and they were able to showcase that right from here in IIT and from India, you are able to be, rub shoulder to shoulder any new, technology, sunrise technology that's coming in. And actually, this week is the competition in Scotland now. So all the current batch of Avishkar students are competing. They have done a wonderful pod for this one, significant improvement from the previous batch. And they are actually, as we are speaking, they are running the pod in the competition with the other global players. So a couple of years ago, they said, this is happening well in the student community, how do we make it a reality? And that's when the startup Tutor Hyperloop was done. And basically I had taken a sabbatical. I started as trying to assist this one and see how we can go forward. And a lot of energy with the team. And last year the Railways Minister was here, and we had got the grant from Railways for a 400-meter track, which Karan was talking about. There's a subscale 2-meter tube, and that is coming up in the Discovery campus in IIT Madras. So that should be ready in the next couple of months. So you'll be having a full tube. So it's been, we are working closely with L&T. So they are putting the pylons, and then Tata Steel is helping us with the tube. And the students have come up with the design. So all the patents and the design has come from IIT Madras. And we are actually building on top of that. And that is where what he talked about is the pod. So now we have the infrastructure, we need something to run on it. So that's where Tutor, the team is now working closely with, I think, Kaushal. And he's not happy with a number of interactions, but I'm also not happy. But I think they're taking a lot of guidance from Kaushal and Kannan, and trying to get this pod, so working right from the frame to the wheels to the brakes to the propulsion traction system. And we are also trying to work on the levitation part of it and the top hat, essentially for the CFD and everything. So hopefully before the end of the year, they'll be able to demonstrate this in the tube. So that is where the journey is, and this is just the first step. So once we are able to showcase this here, and by the when the facility comes here, this is the first of its kind in Asia at this length. So it's going to be a pretty significant thing. And what you're also planning is the global competition is happening for 7 years or so in Europe and in the US. We said, why should it happen there? And why should only IIT be the one to participate? Because it costs a lot of money to go there. So we are now planning to get that competition to India. So I've been working with SAE India, trying to see if we can have, I think many of you would have participated in the Baha, SAE India Baha or the Supra. Try to get that competition right here in India so that it's not just one college from here, but most of your juniors can actually participate so that we can crowdsource the development. And hopefully we'll be the most frugal solution that will come. And in terms of solving the problems, I think coming to the topic of the future. So Hyperloop is, all of it look at it as esoteric, it's for driving 600 kilometers per hour or 1000 kilometers per hour, Chennai to Bangalore in 15 minutes. All those can happen. That is truly the future, and hopefully by 2047, when we have 100 years of independence, we'll be able to make it a reality. What we are trying out is what Kaushal was camping earlier on in his talk is look at cargo. There are several applications, and here the performance metric is not that high because the current average speed is around 40-45 kilometers per hour. If you go at 150 kilometers per hour, you have 3 times throughput, and you're able to actually move a lot more cargo per ton kilometer, and the cost is also it's quite sustainable because it's electric, it's autonomous, and if you're able to take wayside power, especially within the city and everything, you're going to have a pretty clean mode of transportation. Forget about the source of the power that is coming in is still there, coal, but we are moving into renewables there. So we essentially have a pretty good sustainable form of mobility with a much lower CO2 footprint and much more efficient type of pod which will be able to transport this one. So that is the next step that we are doing. Once we demonstrate this 4 meter, try to take it on a pilot, and step by step we'll be able to take it for commercial deployment. And hopefully while we keep proving the technology, we'll be able to also get the revenue for the stakeholders by increasing the throughput and the efficiency of the system.
Thank you, Baldwaj. Kumar, I remember talking to your brother. He was saying that just like there is this Prime Minister's village road scheme, he felt that if every village could be connected with the nearest railway station through an electric line, that would be very catalytic for the rural economy. Would like to have your thoughts on that.
Yeah, maybe before I answer that, I was thinking about the what I saw today, and I can only, or I can't stop marveling at the beauty of the thought, right, of this pod that I saw, because to me, future of transportation, especially in urban area, Indian cities are already highly high density population, and the density is only going up. So I think when we look at these pods, right, they are leveraging that density to get a lower cost of transportation, and people in the future want a personalized mobility. They want a predictable time, so, and they don't want to buy, we live in the age of the Ubers and the Swiggies, so people don't want the capital investment to go from their income to buy a vehicle. So it ticks all the boxes. So I really see, the urban transportation problem can really be solved by what I saw. So the reason I want to speak about it here is when you are a student who is 19 or when you are 22, after 2 years or 3 years, you will really look at CTC and go and do some job. But solving these problems, need 2-3 things. The first is the belief that we are really doing some path-breaking work, that is going to change, how we commute within a city. Right? I don't know how many of you are, day scholars who take the college bus to go to college. So, okay, I see very few hands. Maybe one criteria people should use to recruit people is they should spend 2 hours, go from Chennai city to a college outside Chennai, because they will know the pain and the importance of solving this problem. There are more people from the hostel working on this project, so that mix should change. And so that is very important. And second is, to solve these kind of problems, we have to, focus on that problem for a, like it's very easy to showcase this demo or prototype or a proof of concept in 75 days. Probably to take it to production, it will take 7.5 years. Right? And every one of you must stay in this problem till the time you see it in production. Lot of temptations will be there, lot of things that will defocus you, both personally and professionally will happen. But despite all that, how do you stay focused on the problem? That is very important, because starting young is important, right? But staying on the same problem for longer and showing your commitment to that is more important. Okay, so that is a request I have before I answer Kannan's question. In fact, when I was sitting here, I was thinking about how I started my career. We were, Dr. Junjunwala's idea at that time is to solve rural telephony problem. So how do we give, because the population density is very low in rural areas, and those days it used to take 10,000 rupees to lay copper for every kilometer. Right? The rural India was not getting telephone lines at all. So how do we give telephone lines to rural villages? So from there, how do we solve the urban transportation problem, right, for the daily commute? So that's, you know, I can't say how timely this is. Right? So, but so that is one problem, that economics are different, the benefits are different, the population density is different, you know, the capex per person is different. Whereas when it comes to the rural transportation, right, the problem is different. But why that is important is, the moment there is better connectivity, you know, people can go to another town to work, people can go to another town to even sell their produce and things like that, the quality of life in rural area improves. So that is another problem. How do we, you know, improve the quality of transportation in rural areas in a cost-effective manner? So I really think, you know, if the system of connecting, you know, having a railway network, you know, in fact with the pod I see, maybe the railway network should be replaced by the pod, because I am told it only costs 2 rupees per kilometer. So if we can put this system in rural areas, you know, we have to look at the economics of rural areas. But since it's personalized, you are not running 4 compartments and 200 people. You can, you know, it is on demand. You know, so personalized, on demand, low cost, predictable time. All of these are, you know, signs of the future readiness of the technology. So I think this is what we should do even in the rural areas.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time. I think you will have a long and tiring day. It's no time for you to go out and enjoy it. Thank you.